Assalamualaikum and good day to each and everyone. I am Haula Paramata Pagayawan and I am going to report 3 topics. First, libel, to be followed by slander, and lastly, plagiarism. Now without further ado, let's get started. Libel and slander, are they not the same? So these two terms are most likely under the word defamation or under the different kinds of defamation, but these two are still different from each other. So first, we have, according to Article 353, defamation, libel is defined as a public and malicious imputation of a crime or of a vice or defect, real or imaginary, or any act, omission, condition, status, or circumstance tending to cause the dishonor, discredit, or contempt of a natural or juridical person, or to blacken the memory of one who is already dead. So in simple terms, libel is any written publication that provides false information about a person, and that false information about the person causes dishonor, injury, discredit to that person's reputation. While ang slander, according to Article 358, it's oral defamation. Oral defamation, sinabi or through words sinabi yung accusation or imputation ng false information. Sa libel, it's written. Sa slander, it's through oral. And then, slander, when you are accused of slander or under the lawsuit of slander, you will be arrested by arresto mayor in its maximum period to prisión correccional in its minimum period if it is of a serious and insulting nature. Otherwise, the penalty shall be arresto menor or a fine not exceeding 200 pesos. Meaning, slander, ang punishment ng slander is arresto mayor. Arresto mayor is maaresto ka or you'll be in jail for 1 month and 1 day to 6 months. Yun ang maximum period ng arresto mayor. To precision correctional is mawawalan ka ng public office o masususpend ka sa any public office, mawawalan ka ng profession, madidisqualify ka from any right of suffrage, and ang minimum na pagkakakulong mo is 18 months. So yun ang punishment kapag malaki ang slander na ginawa mo, serious and insulting nature. So arresto mayor, pagkakakulong ng 1 month and 1 day to 6 months, and of course, precision correctional, pagkakawala mo ng profession, suspended ka sa any public office, and disqualification sa suffrage. While ang arresto mayor naman is pagkakakulong, ito lang yung minor slander. So when you say minor slander, you'll be punished with arresto menor. Arresto menor is ito yung 1 day to 30 days ang pagkakakulong or magbabayad ka ng hindi lalagpas sa 200 pesos. Further, balik tayo sa libel. Libel is by means of writings or similar means. Yun ngayon na nasabi ko kanina na libel is a defamation done through writings. A libel committed by means of writing, printing, lithography, engraving, radio, phonograph, painting, theatrical, exhibition, cinematographic, exhibition, or any similar means shall be punished by prisión correccional in its minimum and medium periods or a fine ranging from 200 to 6,000 pesos or both, in addition to civil action which may be brought by the offended party. So, ang punishment ng libel is prisión correccional, which is yun nga yung pagkakawala mo ng profession, suspension sa public office, pagkaka-disqualify sa right of suffrage, and of course, yung pagkakakulong mo ng minimum ng precision correctional is ang 18 months. Yun ang minimum. Pagkakakulong ng minimum and medium periods. And of course, magbabayad ka ng 200 to 6,000 pesos and any civil action na gustong mangyari ng offended party. So, yun ang punishment under libel. So, again, ang libel is defamation through writings, through publication, while ang slander, defamation through oral, sinabi lang. Now, let us proceed. Here are the 4 elements of libel. So, kailan mo siya matatawag na libel? First is, the imputation must be malicious. So, when we say malicious, it means that the writer knew about the information being false. So, alam niyang false yung information, but still wrote it to injure the person being written about. So, kahit alam niyang mali, sinulat pa rin niya with the intent to dishonor or injure the reputation of the person being talked about or being written about. Next, the imputation must be defamatory. So, defamatory, paninirang puri. Hindi siya matatawag na libel kung hindi magiging paninirang puri or kung hindi madudungisan yung reputation or magkakos ng injury sa reputation ng affected person, ng offended party. Third, the imputation must be made publicly. So, kailangan na publicize siya. Hindi mo siya matatawag ng libel if the defamation only occur between the two parties. Hindi lumabas sa two parties. Sa inyo lang dalawa nangyari, kayo lang dalawa may-ari, so may alam, so hindi siya matatawag na libel. And lastly, the offended party must be identifiable. So, of course, kailangan kilala. Matatawag mo siyang libel kapag kilala mo kung sino yung victim. Kapag kilala nyo both kung sino yung nagsabi ng ganito, masasamang words to defame the other party. Kilala nyo kung sino ang victim. Now, we have here understanding the law for suing the media. So, when it comes to suing the media for libel, slander, or defamation, the responsibility rests with you to prove that. First, kailangan mong gawin, a journal or media outlet publish something false about you. So, kailangan mo ng proof na ang media outlet is nag-publish sila ng maling information about you. So, when we say publish, it doesn't have to mean the defamatory statement was printed in a newspaper. It can be said on a TV program, on the radio, on a social media platform, in a speech, or on a website. Now, next is that person acted deliberately and negligently. So, kailangan mo ma-prove na yung taong yon, or yes, the person involved in media is hindi sila nag-fact check enough, hindi sila nag-further investigation, or hindi sila nag-dig up if totoo talaga yung information about you. So, parang first base lang na investigation, then yun na, sinulat na nila. So, kailangan mo ma-prove na nagpabaya sila. Ganon. Kailangan mo ma-prove na nagpabaya sila sa pag-release or pag-produce ng false information. And lastly, the false statement caused you harm. So, kailangan mo ma-prove kailangan mo ma-prove na yung na-publish or sinabing false statement about you has actually caused you harm. Now, we have here defamation when a regular citizen is the victim. So, we have here for an example si Joe Smith. Joe Smith with an I is a plumber and has never been arrested. And somebody with a similar name, Joe Smith with Y, so Smith siya with Y, is arrested and accused of assaulting a police officer. So, si Joe Smith na I, simpleng mamamayan. May plumbing business siya. While si Joe Smith with Y is siya yung naaresto and na-accused ng pag-attack or assault sa isang police officer. Now, a newspaper or a media outlet published a newspaper carelessly. And ang nalagay nila doon sa headline or doon sa story is Joe Smith with I instead of Y. And dahil doon, ikaw na yung na-accuse ng assaulting or na-accuse ng false information. But also, your picture. So, ikaw na simpleng mamamayan, ikaw yung naging victim, sa'yo napunta yung blame instead na yung isang kapangalan mo. In this case, the information the newspaper published is both false and damaging. Joe Smith's reputation is harmed and his plumbing business will likely lose customers and revenue even if the newspaper prints a correction. So, kahit nag-reprint ulit ang newspaper ng correction, pero dahil na-produce na nila, na-publish na nila yung false information na yun, and that cause you damage, na-dishonor yung reputation mo, yung yung business mo has lost customers. So therefore, if Joe Smith brings a lawsuit for libel, possible na manalo siya, and the newspaper would probably lose. So that is defamation when a regular citizen is the victim. Now, lastly, you have defamation when a public figure is the victim. So a public figure must prove that not only was a false statement published, but that it was published with actual malice. So hindi lang kailangan na ipakita or ma-prove nila na may na-publish na false statement about sa kanila, but they should also prove that it was published with actual malice. So when we say actual malice, that means the person or media organization making the false statement knew or should have known it was false but published it anyway. So alam naman nila na mali, or kailangan, yes, alam nila na mali, pero gi-publish pa rin nila, or nagkulang sila sa fact-checking, they disregard the truth, hindi sila nag-fact-checking, further confirmation, the information pinublish nila, so that's still under actual malice. Kasi trabaho nilang i-fact check yun, mag-dig up ng further information, but since they fail to do so, recklessly publish it, disregarding the truth, then that's still under actual malice, which kailangan ma-prove ng public figure. I guess that would be all for libel and slander. Now let us proceed to plagiarism. So plagiarism is very familiar to all of us. Plagiarism refers to the act of appropriating the ideas of another and presenting them as one's own. It is an act of intellectual dishonesty which assumes more gravity when committed in the context of an activity that puts premium precisely on the production of original creative work. Example, an academic paper, a literary or scientific publication, an artistic work. So plagiarism in simpler terms is owning someone's idea, owning another person's idea and presenting them as your own. Now, we have here plagiarism under the Intellectual Property Code under Section 172.2 of Republic Act number 8293, otherwise known as the Intellectual Property Code. Literary and artistic works are protected by the sole fact of their creation, irrespective of their mode or a form of expression, as well as of their content, quality, and purpose. So, kahit ano bang mode or form of expression, kahit ano pa yung content, yung quality, and yung purpose ng literary and artistic works, so long as nagawa siya ng creator, then magiging automatic na under siya sa protection ng plagiarism. Now, we have here as to derived works under Section 173 of the IPC, the law protects as new works any of the following. So, itong mga mababanggit ko, ito yung considered the new works, and because they're considered new works, they're most likely under the protection of new works, law of new works. So first, we have dramatizations, translations, adaptations, abridgments, arrangements, and other alterations of literary or artistic works. So, from script, gi-dramatize, gi-translate, inadapt from book, ginawa siyang series or movie, kahit basta dapat may pagbabago, may abridgment, may arrangement, and other alteration ng literary or artistic work, that is considered new works. Another, collecting of literary, scholarly, or artistic works and compilations of data and other materials which are original by reason of the selection or coordination or arrangement of their contents. So long as inedit mo, binago mo yung arrangement, may mga pagbabago, alterations, coordination, arrangement ka na ginawa sa mga collection and compilation mo, is magiging under new works yan. Kaya nga sa thesis, it is advisable na baguhin mo yung nakalap or nag-gather mong information about the study, specifically sa RRL. Kailangan kasi talaga naka-basis tayo. We need references for our study. So, kapag kumuha tayo ng paragraph from a study, then ginamit natin siya sa work natin, then inedit natin, iniba natin yung arrangement, binigyan natin ng bagong new words, new thought, then that is still that can be considered under new works according to IPC. Now, we have here copyright infringement and plagiarism. These two are interchangeable but still have unique differences and unique definition. So first, copyright has a limited term of protection. For an example, during the life of the author and for 50 years of after his or her death. After this term, the original work is deemed to have entered the public domain and can already be freely used by anyone. There is no such term limitation for plagiarism. So copyright is meron siyang limited time of protection. And kapag na-expire na yun, for an example is copyright kapag buhay pa yung author or kapag 50 years after niyang mamatay is under pa rin yung sa copyright. And kapag lumagpas na doon, then magiging pwede na siya for public domain. And kahit sino na pwedeng gumamit nun, hindi mo na kailangan magbigay ng credits. And by that, walang ganon sa plagiarism. You can clearly see kasi ang plagiarism, thought lang plagiarism is kapag inangkin mo lang yung work ng ibang tao. Most likely, dahil dito, we can plagiarize but we cannot be under copyright infringement. Paano? If ever ako, kumuha ko ng study from other kumuha ako ng or may ginaya akong passage or literary or artistic work from other people, ginaya ko, tapos kinuha ko as my own. Pero dahil expire na yung copyright niya, then hindi na ako magiging under copyright infringement. Yes, I did plagiarism, pero hindi ako magiging under copyright infringement dahil tapos na yung limited term ng protection niya. Na-expired na, kumbaga. Now, summarizing the law, plagiarism is punishable as a crime if it was committed with deliberate intent and amounts to copyright infringement under the IPC. So, yun yung sabi ko kanina na magiging mapapunish ka. Plagiarism is punishable as a crime if under din siya sa copyright infringement. Now, if copyright infringement was committed, the violator can be held liable under the IPC. In addition, he or she can also be held liable under first, the Cybercrime Prevention Act. Cybercrime Prevention Act is kapag the plagiarism was committed through an ICT network or facility like the internet. So kapag nag-plagiarize ka or ginawa mo ang plagiarism sa any ICT or any ICT networks facility tulad ng internet. And of course, the E-Commerce Act if the plagiarism takes the form of online piracy as described in the law. So I think that would be all, and I hope I was able to explain it sufficiently, elaboratively, substantially. Again, thank you for listening and goodbye.